What's up, guys? This is the fourth shelf of my drama section. We start off with Funny People. Wasn't a huge fan of this movie. I bought it because I was a big Seth Rogen fan, and this was coming off of all of his really good movies in a row. And I figured him, with Adam Sandler would make this a good movie. And it wasn't that it was a bad movie. It's just, to me, it came off more as a drama than it did a comedy. So it just kind of let me down in that regard. Just not that funny in my opinion. Really good cast though. Just kind of a letdown for me personally. Next we have Long Shots with Ice Cube. This was actually a pretty good movie. Ice Cube's a pretty solid actor. I kind of enjoy his movies. Directed by Fred Durst. Boy, oh boy. But, Keke Palmer, also a great actor. Great family movie right here if you want to sit down with the family and watch something. Then we have Another Earth. I bought this because I thought the premise of this movie was different than most other things that you've seen. Another planet with another you on it. And her winning a contest to go to the other Earth to see what her life is like there. Makes it very, very interesting. It was an interesting idea. It was just kind of a very slow movie, but still a good movie. Worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. Then we have Reach Me, another one of those huge casts, multiple storylines, all of them cross paths at some point kind of movies. It was okay. It was a straight to DVD release, so it wasn't the best. I mainly bought it because Sylvester Stallone was in it, and I try to collect all of Sylvester Stallone's movies. But only average. Nothing to go home about. Quite a cast, though. A lot of them kind of delegated to be movie acting. And we've got 12 Years a Slave. Pretty solid movie. Kind of slow also. Chetwell Edgefor has done better movies than this, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Brad Pitt has a very small part in this movie, but he did produce the movie. But all in all, just kind of average. Then we have Love Happens. This one was kind of a disappointment for me. I'm a big Aaron Eckhart fan, and I do like Jennifer Aniston, but this was a very, very slow movie. The chemistry between them just wasn't there. So it was kind of painful to watch. So, I'd only watch this if you've never seen it before. I wouldn't say this was a great movie. Then we have 10 Years. Great cast in this movie. It wasn't phenomenal, but it was good. This is when Channing Tatum, this is a movie Channing Tatum made with his wife, Jenna Dewan Tatum. Well, ex-wife now, but I mean, it's about people going back to their high school reunion and all that stuff, and what their lives are like after school. Worth a watch. Then we got Roman J. Israel Esquire. Huge Denzel Washington fan. Not of this movie though. This out of all the Denzel Washington movies I've seen, this is probably his worst. Colin Farrell's in the movie. He did okay in the movie, but all in all, this was more an irritating movie than anything to me. Denzel Washington's character, I almost wanted to see, I hope he dies in this movie, because this was rough. Then we have Notting Hill. Pretty solid movie. I enjoyed it. You know, Julia Roberts, you know, it's hard to go wrong with her. It wasn't great, but it was good. You know, it's a romantic comedy, you know. There's nothing particularly special about this except for the fact that Julia Roberts was in it. Next, we have a movie that actually surprised me when I watched it. Found this at a Goodwill for $2, so I grabbed it. And this is actually really, really good. It's a Richard Gere movie. You know, a lot of big stars in this movie as well. You know, you had Richard Gere, Gene Hackman, and Denzel Washington all in the same movie. I was gonna get it regardless. But yeah, this was a really good political kind of drama thriller movie. If you've not, you know, I'd never heard of it before I found it there. If you've never seen this, definitely check it out. Worth checking out for sure. Next, we got a movie where I saw the trailer and it looked very interesting. The cast was great. Movie kind of boring. You know, it's kind of sad because the trailer made it look really, really good. It was only kind of average. Even as far as chick flicks go, this was not the best. We've got What to Expect When You're Expecting. Better than the last movie, that's for sure. But still kind of not all the way there. You know, one of Cameron Diaz's last movies. I'm a big Cameron Diaz, Jennifer Lopez, and Elizabeth Banks fan. So I kind of had high hopes for this movie. The casts were great. I love Dennis Quaid as well. Dennis Quaid does do really good in this movie. So, you know, it's worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. Next, we have When in Rome. Only average again. Trailer made it look fantastic, and movie was not as good as the trailer was. You know, the cast is, it's okay. You know, not a big Danny DeVito fan, but, you know, only average. Then we've got Someone Like You. Another average chick flick. Back when Hugh Jackman was doing chick flicks. Nothing really to write home about. I had higher hopes because of the cast. Didn't really deliver. Just kind of meh. Then we've got Aloha. Amazing cast. Not your average chick flick. Definitely, it's a Cameron Crowe movie. So it's a little weird. But, you know, at least it's not the flat kind of boring that the other ones were. But it's a solid watch. Definitely worth checking out. It's not going to go the way you think it goes. But definitely worth checking out. Then we have We Bought a Zoo with Matt Damon and Scarlett Johansson. This was actually a very solid watch. Very good family movie. You know, the premise of this movie was a little, it's another Cameron Crowe movie. Wow, it wasn't weird though, too. So, it's a little out there as far as story goes. You know, like, oh, I'm just going to buy a zoo. That'll bring my family together. You know, my guess is zoos would be very, very expensive, which is why this is kind of a little bit unrealistic to me. But it was still good. Matt Damon and Scarlett Johansson did really well together. Thomas Hayden Church did really good in this movie. So definitely a solid, you know, you should check this out for sure. Then we have Remember Me. About September 11th. You know, Robert Pattinson and Pierce Brosnan are son and dad. It's kind of interesting. Wasn't fantastic, but it's different. The twist at the end really got me. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you haven't seen it, you know, check it out for the twist. The twist alone will make it worth it. Then we have Message in a Bottle. Another average chick flick, you know, early 90s chick flick, or late 90s. Oh, late 90s, yep. But, you know, it's not like the Matthew McConaughey, you know, romantic comedy type movies. This is a little bit more serious. And it's okay. It's not, you know, absolutely amazing, but it's okay. Then we have The Conspirator. Saw the trailer to it, saw the cast, thought it was going to be absolutely amazing, and it was not. James McAvoy does okay in this movie, but it just wasn't, you know, Robert Redford directed it, so another reason why I was expecting a lot out of it. Maybe I was just expecting too much out of this movie, but only average. Then we have Beyond Borders. This one I wasn't expecting a lot out of, but it actually turned out to be really, really good. These two do very well together. You know, Clive Owen's career has kind of fallen by the wayside lately, at least as far as stuff that I've seen that I've enjoyed. But Martin Campbell, great director. Definitely worth checking this movie out if you haven't seen it before, if you're a fan of either of these actors or the director. Then we have What Dreams May Come. Very interesting story premise. Pretty good movie. You know, considering I've never seen a movie like this before, you really can't compare it to anything. But it's definitely worth checking out. You know, it's not going to be a story that you can predict or know what's going to happen next, which is kind of nice. So definitely check this movie out if you haven't seen it before. Then we have The Good Girl. Big Jennifer Aniston fan. John C. Reilly's a pretty good actor. Jake Gyllenhaal, you know, this was early in his career as well. This movie was boring. You know, this is obviously Jake Gyllenhaal. You know, these actors are not huge yet, so they were just kind of taking roles, I believe, to kind of get their names out there, but not their best work. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch this. Then we've got Gangs of New York. Usually I love Martin Scorsese movies, but I found this movie to be too long and too boring. Cameron Diaz does okay in this movie. You know, it's not, you know, I'm not a huge Daniel Day-Lewis fan either, but he was probably the best part of this movie. But it was just kind of boring to me. I didn't find it to be, the story itself to be very interesting. So only average. Then we've got Joy, another David O. Russell movie. And like I said, it's another David O. Russell movie, so I didn't enjoy it very much. Bradley Cooper was probably the best part of this movie. You know, with a cast like that, it's just like, damn. I know a lot of people enjoy these movies, but boring. Then next we have 9 Months. Interesting movie. I liked it better than Notting Hill. You know, good cast. Tom Arnold in this movie was good. You know, Tom Arnold was always good in his 90s movies that he did. Worth checking out if you haven't seen it before, if you're a big Hugh Grant fan. This one is one of his better movies. Then we have The Fountain. This was one of the biggest piles of junk I've ever watched in my life. This would make a really good toaster. I mean, I mainly kept it because I got it for free. But I didn't get this movie at all. I didn't enjoy this movie at all. I was just kind of waiting for it to be over. So I wouldn't go out of my way to watch this movie. Then we have Lucky You with Eric Bana and Drew Barrymore. This was actually a really good movie. I enjoyed this movie. It was unlike anything I've really seen before, as far as father-son relationships and things like that. Very, very interesting movie. Definitely watch this if you haven't seen it before. Robert Duvall does great. So does Eric Bana. Yeah, check it out. Then we have Mr. Baseball. I remember watching this when I was a kid, and I absolutely hated this movie because I was such a huge fan of Major League that I didn't believe this was as good. Watch it now as an adult, and definitely a lot better than I remembered. And you do have Serrano in there. But I mean, yeah, this movie is definitely better when you're older than it was when you were younger. So definitely check this out if you haven't seen it before. And lastly, we have Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta. You know, it was his big breakthrough role. Not his best, in my opinion. Better than Staying Alive, the sequel to this movie. But people consider it a classic. I just consider it old. You know, whole disco dancing thing. But like I said, I don't believe it's I don't think it's a classic. But yeah, that does it for this shelf. So please like and subscribe. The support is much appreciated. Otherwise, until next time, have a good day.